Hey y'all, welcome back to the Intro Podcast. My name is Diamond, and on today's episode, I revisit a topic from 4 years ago streaming. In my episode to stream or not to stream, I took a deep dive into streaming services as they stood in 2021. Now that it's 2025, I want to revisit the same topic because things look a little bit different. So sit back, relax, and let's talk streaming and chill. Before I get started on the video, I would like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank y'all for liking, thank y'all for commenting, thank y'all for sharing. And to those who are new here, make sure you hit subscribe. And one more. Please make sure that you follow me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. I promise y'all we have the same great material there, just no video. Let's get into this week's film news. The New York Times has finally completed its list of the top 100 movies of the 21st century, and I promise you a lot of your favorites did make the cut. I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all a few of them that I found kind of interesting that I enjoyed. So at 100, we have Superbad, 96, Black Panther, 73, Ratatouille, 50, Up, 9, Get Out, 5, Moonlight, and at number 1, which shouldn't be a surprise if you know your films, we have Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. If you haven't seen Parasite, you can catch it now on Netflix, but during his Golden Globes speech, Bong Joon-ho said, if you can get over the 1-inch barrier of subtitles, you'll discover a bunch of phenomenal movies. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but I do know he said that about the 1-inch wall barrier. Whatever. Just watch the movie with or without the subtitles. I don't really care. It's a great film. Go watch it. Another thing I want to point out about this New York Times list is that Christopher Nolan had 5 nominations, which I think is pretty accurate. I felt like he was dropping a movie every year, if not every other year. So a few of those movies that he did drop did get the recognition that they deserved. I don't think that it was in the order that it should have been in, but they got the recognition. At 89, we have Interstellar, 65, Oppenheimer, 62, Memento, 55, Inception, and at 28, we have The Dark Knight. Another thing I kind of want to point out is that only 4 Black directors were put on this list and only 11 women directors were put on this list. So over the next 25 years, we do have a long way to go when it comes down to directing. And honestly, let's get some more Black women directors in Hollywood because they have some really good ones that I have seen just scrolling through social media. So let's get that happening. So let's get into the top 5 box office from this past weekend. At number 5, in its second week, we have 28 Years Later. At number 4, we have Megan 2.0. At number 3, in week 2, we have Elio. At number 2, in week 3, we have How to Train Your Dragon. And at number 1, we have F1. F1 has a 97% popcorn meter on Rotten Tomatoes and an 83% tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's safe to say that this really is a really great movie. And it also received a cinema score of an A. So if you haven't gone to see F1, make sure you go check it out ASAP. NBC has canceled yet another show. Grosse Pointe Garden Society has been canceled after 1 season. And I think that's so insane because I heard some really good reviews about this show. And honestly, I talk about NBC later on in the show, so I'm not going to harp too much on this topic, but this is very typical for NBC. As of July 1st, Max is officially back to HBO Max. Honestly, I never stopped calling it HBO Max to begin with, so it really doesn't make much of a difference to me, but it is officially called HBO Max again. So back in 21, I did have some pretty strong opinions regarding streaming services, but at the time I felt like streaming services were still pretty new. At least to my knowledge in that moment, it was pretty new. But now I'm a bit more educated and I see a different perspective on streaming services and what they really are. In 2021, when I did make that video, streaming services as we know it today wasn't really the same. So I just felt like it was very important for me to talk about this again because streaming services is very different now, at least to me, and maybe to you too if you share some of the same opinions as I do. So essentially, during COVID, it forced these streaming services to make more content because they were getting way more subscribers than they were used to because everybody was at home and they had nothing else to do. And with more subscribers comes more money, yes, but with more money comes more problems because now you have to be able to keep up with the demand of all the subscribers. We were all sitting at home just binge watching TV show after TV show, movie after movie, and we needed more because we literally were sitting at home. We could not do anything else but sit down and watch movies, watch TV. On the other hand, during COVID, streaming services really did kind of push the whole watch party culture whenever you can watch the same movie as somebody, maybe from different locations or different shows. I know nowadays I do watch parties on live for like Love Island, and a lot of people go to in person watch parties now for different TV shows or games or whatever. But during COVID, that's where it really got that push. So I do appreciate the community aspect of COVID times. Another thing that happened like after 2021 was that foreign films got a really big push because American films and American cinema was not pushing out content the way that foreign films was pushing out content. So when people would get bored, people would explore different films, and so foreign films became a lot more popular in America during the COVID times than they were prior to COVID. So when we're talking about streaming services, what I'm really talking about is over the top platforms, which is basically like Hulu, Netflix, whatever. But it's like officially called over the top platforms. I know that sounds a little bit nerdy, but I just feel like y'all should know that because in America we have over the top platforms, but they're separated into two different categories. And in those two categories, you have like multi channel video programming distributors, which is like Sling TV, Fubo TV, YouTube TV, things that have like cable channels that you can watch, but on an app. Okay, so those are the MVPDs. Okay, if you can watch cable, it's the MVPD, well, a virtual MVPD. And then you have the online video distributors, which is your traditional Netflix. Hulu doesn't really fall in this category if you have a certain tier. Like if you have the tier that doesn't include the live TV, then yeah, Hulu will fall into the category of online video distributors. But if you have the tier that has the live TV, then it does not fall into this category. My video was filmed in 2021. Okay, so in 2023, 38% of the global TV consumption was through OTTs. Put that into perspective, 38%. Then in 2024, OTT television became the most popular way to consume TV. If that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does. Then in 2025, it's only July, by the way. In 2025, OTT viewership has already surpassed cable viewership already. Let's talk about the top 10 OTTs. You may already know number one is going to be Netflix, but let me give you some information regarding why. Netflix was established in 1997, but when it initially came out, it was just DVDs. Okay, like you could order some DVDs and you can rent them and bring them to your door. They used to have the little commercials with the red envelope, and then it used to have the little mailbox. And I don't know if I'm getting it mixed up with Redbox, but yeah, I do remember them Netflix commercials. Okay, and I know you do too. But Netflix stopped doing the DVDs in 2006 and switched to streaming in 2007, where it would have like a few movies and a few shows, but nothing like it is today. I think that Netflix is able to stay at number one because it keeps up with the times. Netflix and honestly, a lot of these streaming apps that I'm going to talk about all have the same, like, they started before COVID, but COVID really just helped them accelerate. But honestly, Netflix kind of already started the whole binge watching culture because I remember being in high school when Orange is the New Black came out and people were literally on their break on the floor watching the TV show. So binge culture kind of already started with Netflix. So I think when it came down to COVID time, it just skyrocketed Netflix and also forced Netflix to create more shows that were bingeable, if that makes sense. Another thing that Netflix is doing that is keeping them on top too is that they're collaborating with directors and studios and creating like multi movie deals or multi show deals. Like with Shonda Rhimes, she has multiple project deals with Netflix where she does TV shows, movies, and then Tyler Perry does too. And a few like comedians be having like their stand ups on there too. So all of that brings in a different audience. And a lot of times I hear people say there's nothing to watch on Netflix, but think about it. Whenever you're on Netflix, you're scrolling through different things saying that there's nothing to watch on Netflix. Netflix literally has content for everybody. And because of that, Netflix will always stay on top. They have things for kids, they have foreign films, they have originals, they have TV shows, they have nostalgia, they have literally everything under the sun. So you can say Netflix is boring, you can say Netflix doesn't have anything going, but at the end of the day, Netflix has variety and you need variety to be successful. I just feel like binge culture kind of ruined television watching because it kind of has become normal to have these shorter seasons and having to do a complete story, or they'll have stories that leave you with a cliffhanger and then streaming services, OTTs pretty much just cancel it. So you're really just stuck wondering what the hell was going to happen next. At number two, we have Apple TV. And honestly, I feel like Apple TV lucked up because they launched November 2019. So it didn't really like have to scramble when it came down to COVID. It just kind of had to play its part and keep going with whatever plan they already had in motion. So honestly, I feel like COVID really did help Apple TV Plus. Um, but I would say this, Apple TV Plus had a really hard time finding their own lane, like finding what worked for them. They were really just doing these deals with some studios and directors where they would get certain movies and put them on Apple TV Plus. But another thing is too, what drew in a lot of subscribers for Apple TV Plus is that they had like it was free. It was free till like 2021. So just like they always do, they draw you in because they make things free for a long period of time, and then before you even think about canceling it, it it's already done took your money. Now is a little bit, well, honestly, I would say it's a lot different than Apple was in 2021. I really don't remember if I talked about Apple TV in my original video. I really don't remember. But essentially, Apple Originals are now the core of the app. And honestly, I watch Apple Originals more than I watch any other originals on any other OTT app because I feel like Apple Originals, they're very funny. Like my favorite original is Studio. And I know I keep talking about it in like every video, but I really do like the Studio. I don't know if it's just because I'm a film nerd, but I think the Studio is a very well written TV show. And things like Severance, it didn't get pop until season two. So I feel like Apple doesn't do the best job with marketing their shows or their movies because they do have movies like F1 is an Apple movie. But I just don't feel like they do a good job with marketing. And if they did better with marketing, I think their shows would pop quicker. But Netflix doesn't really, I mean, Netflix, Apple TV doesn't really cancel shows like Netflix or like any of these other OTT apps. So I feel like because Apple kind of does their own thing, that they will take over Netflix within the next 3 to 4 years. At number three, we have Disney Plus, which launched in November of 2019. So just like Apple TV Plus, it really doesn't have like COVID didn't really hurt it. It really just helped it. But one thing I do remember about Disney Plus when it first came out, they didn't have everything on there. Like it was very, very, very limited. And it wasn't until maybe the end of 2020 that they started to pick up a little bit. So from March to like October, November of 2020, it wasn't a lot to watch on Disney Plus. Even if you felt like you could go back and watch your nostalgia shows, you couldn't do that. So I just had to put that out there before I continue because I remember that very, very vividly and it really rubbed me the wrong way. Disney Plus broadcasts anything that falls under the Walt Disney umbrella. So that's like Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Hulu, Star Wars, and National Geographic. But I've always liked Disney Plus. I love their originals. I love that a lot of their originals are spin-offs of shows that I grew up on, like Raven's Home or the Wizards of Waverly Place show. I've watched like a few episodes, but I just think it's really cool. And they have a lot of other originals on there that I find really interesting because I just feel like you can find something for everybody. I like the Disney brand. I think that they're very smart when it comes down to media and movies and TV and how they get people to consume their content. So I have a lot of respect for Disney, and them being in the top three truly doesn't surprise me. At number four, we have Hulu, and that launched to the public in 2008. The one thing that stands out about Hulu that sets them apart from every other OTT is that they post episodes from TV shows the day after they are on TV. So this is pretty much your closest thing to cable when it comes down to OTTs, and I really like Hulu. Their focus is more so TV shows and like maintaining high quality television. And when you think about it, shows like Paradise were really good, and Little Fires Everywhere were really good. And even the show about Gypsy Rose, that was nuts too. Like, it's just, Hulu is very, very particular about their TV shows. So if you're gonna watch something for the TV shows, I would watch Hulu. Another thing is Disney is a majority stake owner in Hulu, so you can access Hulu from the Disney Plus app as well. I'm not sure how in depth you can access it, but it is accessible through that app too. At number 5, we have ESPN Plus, which originally launched in April 2018. ESPN Plus is also accessible through the Disney Plus app, but ESPN Plus did come before Disney Plus, so again, not too sure how they connect with one another, but I do know that you can watch a handful of ESPN originals and movies on the Disney Plus app too. But on the ESPN Plus app, it originally started off as just ESPN3, like the extras, little bowling things, like things that aren't traditionally on main ESPN. But during COVID, it hosted the bubble. So that drew in a big audience and a large amount of subscribers too. And honestly, ESPN Plus is now holds all the sports, a majority of all sports internationally, but it has all the US sports. And you can watch like clips, you can watch games, you can watch documentaries, original TV shows, the whole nine. It's a pretty cool app and it's very extensive. And if you're a sports lover, I highly recommend it. At number 6, we have the amazing Prime Video. I love Prime. I think it's probably one of the best ones, and I was kind of shocked that it was at number 6, but honestly, I'm just glad that it was ranked. So Prime Video actually launched in 2006, originally as Amazon Unbox, and then it split from the Amazon app altogether in 2016 because honestly, it was drawing in enough traffic to where it deserved its own private entity. You can still go on Prime and access something called Amazon Video. And Amazon Video is how you rent or buy movies and TV shows. But Prime has like a lot of the free stuff on there. I say free because sometimes you go type things on Prime and it kind of links it to Amazon Video. But I just wanted to share that with you too. One of my favorite shows, The Boys and Gen V. Well, I guess two of my favorite shows. I count them as one because it's the same universe. But some of my favorite shows are on Prime Video. So I don't know. I just always rock with them. And Has Been Hotel is really good too. If you haven't watched it, just go scroll through Prime. They also have like documentaries, their own originals. They partner with other apps and other directors and studios too. So I think that Prime is going to be like within the top 5, maybe within the next year or two. I just think they need to get their footing, and it's honestly a lot of competition right now, but I think they're doing pretty well. At number 7, we have HBO Max, which actually got lucky because during COVID, it launched May 2020. So every piece of content on HBO Max happened during COVID. And I think that it just got better and better as the years went on. HBO Max is known for their original TV shows, and they have some pretty high quality TV shows on there. But they also have a partnership with Warner Brothers. So they have a lot, if not all, of the Warner Brothers movies, including all 8 of the Harry Potter movies. In addition to Warner Brothers, HBO Max has like whatever happened with Cartoon Network, whenever like the channel itself disappeared, but the shows were still happening, they're on HBO Max. So Adult Swim is on HBO Max. There's a really good show called Common Side Effects. I did mention it in my previous video, well, previous episode. And I really enjoyed that show, and there's more to come in the future. So just make sure that you pay attention to your HBO Max app and don't miss anything. I'll also tell you all about it too. At number 8, we have YouTube TV, and this launched in February of 2017. This is pretty much just for live streaming TVs and sports. Like, there's nothing else on the app. They used to have originals whenever they first started, but they stopped it. So YouTube TV is strictly for sports and live streaming. In September 2022, they launched a premium add-on option, which included 85 channels in addition to your subscription. So, I mean, if you were into like TV and you just had to watch TV, it was really beneficial. And then in 2022, they also signed a deal with the NFL to get the NFL ticket, and that started in the 2023 season. But at the conclusion, well, it wasn't really the conclusion of the 2024 season, but at the conclusion of the 2024 regular season, um, YouTube decided to raise their prices and they lost 150,000 subscribers. People did not care about that Sunday ticket anymore because that stuff was getting way too expensive. And a lot of people get streaming services because it is more affordable than cable. If I'm gonna be spending an arm and a leg on a bunch of apps, I could just pay for cable. So that was a really bad move on YouTube's part. I hope that by the end of this year, they do make a change with their prices. I did notice that they're running a special right now where you can get YouTube TV for like $55 after the first like 2 months, and then after the third month, it goes back up to like the 83. I don't know, but I still think $83 for an app is ridiculous. A month, by the way, 83 a month for this app. Get a grip. At number 9, we have the Stars app, which originally launched in 1999, but it became an OTT in 2016. Stars was acquired by Lionsgate, so it gets like a first window for Lionsgate. And for those who don't know, first window just means first look for Lionsgate. So any Lionsgate movie that comes out, you can catch it on Stars first. And another thing about Stars, most of their stories on the app are focused on women and like from a women's perspective, which I found to be very, very interesting because it's not something that I knew. Whenever I first got hooked on Stars, it was really for like P Valley or for, well, that just proved my point. Okay, let me rephrase. I did watch P Valley on Stars, but I also watched BMF and like all of 50 Cent's whole little Power universe, and I didn't feel like those were focused on women. So that's why that fact high key shocked me. And lastly, at number 10, we have Peacock. Peacock launched in April 2020. So again, this was something that benefited from COVID. And Peacock was actually free for a very long time. It was free for 3 years. I should have caught it. I should have caught it when it was on sale, but I was sleeping on Peacock, y'all. And honestly, no, I wasn't sleeping on Peacock. I just don't think Peacock is that good of an app. A lot of people are drawn to Peacock because it has Love Island and it also had the Olympics, but it takes like events like that and then like the NFL wild card. Like, I should not be subscribing to something and paying for something that I'm only watching 3 or 4 things on, and then the wild card is just what 1, 2 weekends. Like that's not enough. That's not enough. Love Island is only a couple of weeks. It's just I'm just not convinced with Peacock. And then another reason I'm not convinced with Peacock is that they cancel everything. Like Peacock has more shows that have been canceled within the past 5 years than they have had shows that are actually like lasting more than a year or two. They cancel everything within a season and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I want to find out because it just blows my mind because a lot of these shows are really good and you're just for what? For what? I feel like all these streaming services are just going to merge into one big streaming service at the end of the day. And I feel like Peacock, Apple TV, and Netflix are kind of jumping ahead because they have a bundle deal with Xfinity. And you can get all three of those for like $15 depending on where you live. I couldn't check it because I don't have Xfinity. But if you do have Xfinity, you can get Netflix, Apple TV, and Peacock for the price of like $15 to $20, which I think is a really good deal. To be honest with y'all, after making this video and really thinking about streaming services and how much it's progressed just since I made the last video, I really do feel like streaming services is going to be okay. It's going to be it's going to be theater movies and it's going to be streaming. That's it. OTTs and theater. That's it. There's no other option that's going to be. And I feel like it's going to get down to being like five because, or, okay, I see 2 ways. It's either going to be 5 main streaming services because everybody's going to merge into one, or all the production studios are going to start doing their own streaming apps. Like I know A24 has one and who else? Honestly, I can't think right now, but a couple of them already kind of had their own little thing going. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like streaming has kind of destroyed cinema as we know it. Like all of this straight to streaming, I'm not for it. I don't like it. I like going to the theaters. I like the experience of trailers. I like the experience of watching things in the community, like watch party culture. I think it's just movie theater culture minimized. And I don't know, y'all, streaming services really killed it. But I think streaming services didn't really kill cinema as much as it killed television because it's normalized binge watching and it's normalized things coming out once and then like you're just waiting months and maybe years for the next season. And I don't like that. Even with Love Island, it comes on every day except for 2 days, which I think is great. But even then, that's a lot of overconsumption and it's just a lot of like, I don't know. I think people get bored because we're getting everything at once. And if we just started getting things like week to week, like Abbott Elementary, classic, I think Abbott Elementary is going to last a very long time because they're very traditional when it comes down to broadcasting. We need to go back to traditional because traditional was working. COVID is over, so we need to stop acting like, honestly, binging is so lazy. I think binging is so lazy. I think it's for people who, and this may sound backwards, it's for people who have a short attention span. Like you can't just wait on something to come out from week to week. Even the pit, it came out week to week. Like that, I like that. That give me something every week. Stop giving it to me at once. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's stop. Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up. I need more OTTs to get with the program because that's you. I also feel like they wouldn't have to push out as much content if they did it like that. You have to push out content because you're dropping everything at once. Stop it. Or then you're losing subscribers because people are waiting for so long. And then Netflix cracking down on Netflix sharing, like all you're doing is hurting yourself. I mean, clearly it's not because it's still number one, but it is hurting itself in a sense because people are going to get tired of that. All this streaming services and OTTs just getting strict. I don't like it. Let's just stop. Stop. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. On next episode, we talk all things from sci-fi to superfly. We deep dive into blaxploitation and chill. Y'all have a good day.